Oops.
Two, one, live.
Oh, man, all the funny things you could make out of that. All right. I don't want to do the intro anymore. I've got a complex.
Welcome to the Lift Heavy Run Long podcast. You can find us on
episode number 126 with Lisa Barker. You can find us at www.liftheavyrunlong.com, on Twitter and Instagram at liftrunlong. Also, feel free to email me directly at the address wilson@liftheavyrunlong.com. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. If you're not a member of our Facebook group,
we want you to be there.
Because we want you to be there. Search for Lift Heavy Run Long Community and request to join right now. My name is Wilson Horrell. I am one of your hosts. The LHRL podcast is uncensored, so listen at your own risk. Lift Heavy Run Long has an app, and I want to tell you about it. For $3.99, you can be part of that app and join the Facebook community inside the app and be subscribed to 4 barbell strength exercises every week, 4 WODs every week, and 3 bodyweight strength exercises that you can do anywhere that your body might be at the time.
Can you pick what day that you want to do those, or are they?
They're in your calendar.
Okay.
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is bodyweight, barbell strength, and WODs, and Tuesday and Thursday has no. That's not correct. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is bodyweight exercises.
And if you're like me, you look at Monday and you go, man, I don't want to do that today. I'm going to do Wednesdays today, and then I'll do Monday on Wednesday, or just don't do any of it.
If you're like me, you're going to start tomorrow.
Okay.
We have that on the app too. There's a program that's called Start Tomorrow, and every day your program just moves up a day, and you never actually start, but when you go to bed the night before, you feel like, since I'm starting tomorrow, let's do it. For $9.99 a month, you can have unlimited access to all of the programs that Lift Heavy Run Long has to offer, which is everything from 5K programs to 100-mile programs. Just to let you know, I do not program those programs, which should make you all feel better. Valerie Hunt, the endurance athlete, well-known endurance athlete and running coach, is kind enough to do the training for us, the programming for us. She's on the app, and you have unlimited access to her on that app. That app will change at some point because I want it to. We need more control over the app.
What's the goal of the app?
What's the goal of the app?
Yeah.
To deliver training and be social.
What if I know somebody that can't afford $9.99 a month?
The goal of Lift Heavy Run Long is to bring fitness to as many people as possible, as inexpensively as possible.
I tried.
You need to work on your transitions and your feeders there.
At least I tried. An attempt was made.
If you or someone you know doesn't have $3.99 a month and you think that fitness would benefit their life or your life, please email me at wilson@liftheavyrunlong.com, and you're welcome to use the app free of charge. I am sitting next to the most intelligent, attractive, and loving woman in the world, Dr. Amanda Kimsey Horrell, also known as Jack and Tan.
Good afternoon.
Are you cold?
It's cold. I'm also sweaty and now cold. So
We don't have a heater.
I just came from the gym.
It's one of the few amenities that we don't have here. Mm-hmm. Other than that, how are you?
I'm doing good. A little tired, but I'm good.
Yeah.
Had a good day at work.
Okay.
Passed my ACLS test. So I'm recertified for another couple years.
Congratulations.
What does that mean?
We won't understand it.
Just advanced.
ACLS. Is that the thing where we dumped ice on our?
No.
That's what she did.
That was the
She
ALS
dumped.
It's resuscitation stuff. So
Advanced congenital
yes.
literal association.
Yes.
Association.
Socialism. Yes.
Good. And next to her, we have one of my favorite people, Ms.
Aw.
Lisa Barker.
Yay.
How are you?
I'm great.
Lisa is fresh off the Tunnel Hill 100-mile run.
Right on.
Yeah.
Not so fresh, but
And
yeah.
well, she is finished with the 100-mile Tunnel Hill run. I don't know what fresh would look like after that. If you'll ever be fresh again.
I don't know.
Something like that.
I'm waiting.
Would
Was that,
I'm
your
waiting.
first, was that your first 100?
Yes.
Awesome.
But you're on your feet. You came here under your own power, and this weekend at St. Jude, you were there volunteering.
I was. It's great.
Was it your last 100? We'll get into that.
Next to Lisa, we have the Reverend
What's up?
Vaughn Rawls.
Hey, everybody.
How are you?
I'm good.
What's new?
What's new? I don't know.
Your shirt.
We ran a marathon this weekend. That's
You
new.
did.
I did.
Yeah, you ran marathon.
How did that
Yeah.
go?
It was hard.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
hot out there.
It was warm.
Yeah.
it was hot.
It was hot.
That
Yeah.
was for 70 degrees. That was really hot. That was a really hot 70 degrees.
Yeah.
Is that a thing? Can you have a hot 70 degrees?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm convinced
it's-
that perspective matters on that temperature. Like if we had come off of like a 95 or 100 degree day and all of a sudden they were like, oh, it's going to be 7 degrees on Saturday, we'd have been celebrating and we'd have absolutely loved it. But we've been coming off of freezing temperatures or
Right, and
high
that
30s,
one day
low 40s,
it's like
and
70
then for
degrees.
one day it's high 60s, low 70s.
But I'm going to tell you that I'm getting smarter about the stuff since I've done these before, and so my idea was I would run with the 4-hour pace group and just stay there all day, and I halfway through I was like, this is too fast, and if I continue to try to stay with these people, 18 to 26 is going to be terrible. So I just let them go, and I started like a 4-minute, 2-minute run walk thing. I was like, I'm just going to bring
How
this
long did you stay with them?
all the way to the halfway mark.
Okay.
And I was just like, I'm just going to not worry about it, and I'll get this thing done in 4.5 hours and be over it.
That's still a really good time
It's okay.
to me.
Yeah. For me.
Perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's good to
and
me.
so, but it's good to be smart enough to be able to go, look, I know what's going to happen.
Today's not the day.
I know what's going to happen if I try to run this 9-minute pace, sub 9-minute pace, and I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to hang out here for a little while and enjoy it. And so then I enjoyed the beer and the festivities along the back half of the race.
And you also said that Thirsty's jacket messed you up.
Yeah,
He
well,
sabotaged.
I don't know that it messed me up, but the whole reason I wore it is because of tailwind.
And we're talking about a Camelback that's
Yeah,
60
and I don't.
or 70
Well, when you
ounces
came in,
of
you
fluid.
said you would have ran a sub 3 if it wasn't for that crappy jacket.
Oh well, you weren't supposed to tell us.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, well,
So that wasn't comfortable. That wasn't.
it
the
was
deal.
very uncomfortable. Yeah, and I couldn't wear my trucker hat backwards because the backpack was back there and kept pushing my lid up.
Oh,
top.
yeah.
So I was like, man, I can't. Gotta turn my hat around.
Well, if you can't look good, you
Well, I
can't. run.
know. So it was bothersome.
Interesting.
You know who's behind the camera? The best looking cameraman in the business.
We got the peanut gallery today.
Hey, we're going to get to them.
Oh, okay.
You just take it easy. Big Thirsty Brian Swanson. As you all know, we can't put him on the camera. He's too attractive. The women will just go nuts. He can't handle
He's like a vampire.
the
He'll
fan
sparkle.
mail. He doesn't
Right.
want to go
Oh,
to
I
the
gotta
post
take a
office every
picture
day.
of it.
Oh, you'll get to Vaughn's post will have the peanut gallery in it.
You got to get Big Thirsty behind the lights.
I do.
How are you, Thirsty?
I am better than I deserve and grateful for it.
Yeah, feel good at St. Jude?
I did, kind of like along the lines of Vaughn, or I guess before the race, though, I knew it was going to be hot, so I had to kind of adjust my pace goals and arbitrarily picked. Originally, my goal had been to finish under 2 hours with weight vest. I didn't do any of the training, so that was really an unreasonable expectation, even if the weather had been better. But once the forecast kind of finalized and I knew it was going to be high 60s, low 70s, I just arbitrarily said, I'm going to try and shoot for 2:30. So we had so many people from LHRL show up, but Crystal Landers came in town, and she and I ran together, and I said, all right, we're going to stick with the 5-hour pacers. If we stick with the 5-hour marathon group, then we should be fine. 2.5 hours in. Well, I think most pace groups actually missed their time goals.
Oh, did they really?
I think. I won't swear to that, but indications are yes.
I'll have to check on that 4-hour group because they were doing well.
Were they?
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on the pacer because a lot of times those pacers are like the pace group they're pacing is pretty much like their perfect race type thing. Like if I'm capable of doing a 4.5 hour marathon, I should probably be pacing like the 5 or 5:15 group and not the 4.5 hour group. And I think a lot of times these 4.5 hour pacers are 4.5 hour marathoners kind of thing. And so if the day
I've wondered that
if the day goes wrong, I feel like it they fall off pace. Anyways, all that to say, we ended up leaving the 5-hour pace group after 2 or 3 miles because they weren't sticking to.
Oh, really? You left them behind?
Yeah.
Wow.
We went out and it's funny because I even kind of said to Crystal over and over again, I was like, we're going to catch the 5-hour pacers, and we're not passing them. We're not going to pass the 5-hour pacers. We're not going to pass the 5-hour pacers.
And you're like, let's pass the
and
5
then
hours.
like mile 2, like we're like 20 yards in front of them, and she's like, 5-hour pacers are back there, and I was like, we'll keep them in sight. It's fine.
I want to give a shout out that I forgot about when you got to me, which is Christy Brewer. And
she had all the
before the race. She was talking about how she was going to be at mile 18 with Christmas tree Little Debbie's, and that race got delayed till 9:00. And I'd never eat breakfast before I go. So by the time the race started, I was starving already.
I was too.
And so the whole time, I'm like, oh my gosh, I really hope she's there at mile 18 with that Little Debbie because I'm going to eat that Little Debbie like nobody's ever eaten a Little Debbie. And so I got to mile 18, and sure enough, she's standing there with a cake in her hand and a small water bottle about this big.
You sure it wasn't a small child that you like stole it out of
It
her hand?
could possibly be. But anyway, she handed me. She said, "I've got a little small bottle of Tailwind in a little water bottle." And I was like, yes, and it was cold. And I was like,
man.
oh, man, you going to let me can I have this? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, my God, you're a rock star. So that was awesome to, like, have that Little Debbie and that small little cold bottle of water with Tailwind in it.
That is awesome.
Well,
She had a
it was
whole
good.
grocery cart full of Little Debbie's that she was taking out there. I'm not kidding. Did you not see it? She
Yeah,
bought
she
like
took-
a grocery cart full
she
of
took a picture
Little
and
Debbie's.
posted it on Facebook of like the grocery cart at the grocery store, and it was full up Christmas trees.
Man, that
That'd make me want to run a marathon just to go by and get a Little Debbie Christmas tree.
It was so good.
that
Oh,
road
so
running
good.
can suck it, man.
It can. I think I'm in that. I'm almost firmly
Forget
in that
about it.
camp right now.
God, it just hurts so bad. I have a stress fracture from my waist down to my toes, just on each leg, just all the way down. It's horrible. And the drinks, it's so much. I lost more fluid trying to drink a cup of water than I did in drinking a cup of water. Can they not pour more water in that cup?
Well, they're afraid of drowning you.
Who's going to hydrate on an ounce of water?
Well, that's
If you're
why.
drink- if you're
That's
drinking
why
every
I
mile-
had to carry that big ass backpack.
If you're drinking every mile,
'Cause I didn't.
there's an aid station every mile. You just need a little sip.
so then
every
by
mile.
the end of 13 miles, you had what?
you had 13,
8 ounces of water.
You had 13, probably 13 plus ounces of water.
Man, I mean, I'm used to I would have had about a gallon and a half over 13
Me too.
miles.
Me too.
You know,
Do you carry water?
no,
Oh.
I didn't. I should have.
Well, the first few times I've ran St. Jude, I never carried anything with me because it was always water and Gatorade at every stop, except for goo. I would have goo, but that was it. I wouldn't carry a water bottle or anything because there was every mile you got whatever.
Well, I usually carry like my little waistband thing with my 2 water bottles and a zip bag thing in the middle with like some waffle stingers or whatever, honey stingers. And the one time I don't, they delay it. And I ate breakfast at 5 a.m. that morning.
Oh, God. I was
It's so
hungry.
funny. I remember you talking about how hungry you were at the start of the
my
race. So we're walking to the corral that we're going to start at. We're looking for the 5-hour pacers, and several of us are walking together. And Amanda says, "Oh my God, I'm so hungry." And like I reached down into my vest and I pulled out a pack of honey stinger gels, and I was like, she's like, "Can I really have these?" And I was like, "Yeah, you can." And like 5 minutes later, I was like, "What'd you do with those? Are you gonna hold on to them?" She's like, "No, I ate them already. I inhaled them."
Yeah, he's like, "What'd you do with those?" I'm like, "Oh, I ate them. Did you want it back?"
I hit
was so
mile
hungry.
9 and I was so hungry. I thought I just need to go in somewhere and get something to eat, like just take a break for this. I mean, I was starving. You just used the trail races have.
I was starting to get hungry around mile 8, and that was the first time that so there was a beer stop right there on Channel 3 Drive, and only for the sake of it would have filled me up more than water or Gatorade, I was considering grabbing a beer. But I was like, you know what? We're so close to finishing at this point,
I did the same thing. I was like, I really need the carbs. I'm hungry, but...
Yeah. But I'm really happy. So, I said I arbitrarily picked 2:30, and I finished in like 2:29:45 or something like that. So I'm almost exactly hit the arbitrary goal that I picked.
Good. Fantastic.
Did you get a medal?
I did get a medal from you, as a matter of fact. So it's a funny story. I was actually, I thought I had said something to you guys, but may have been the group that I was talking to afterwards. But I was like, I come across the finish line. Of course, you're kind of in a daze anyways, but Lisa's
Everybody
there.
was, yeah.
Lisa's there, and she's like, congratulations. And she puts the medal over my head, and I'm thinking, like, she's a little too, like, happy, like... She's a little too nice to me specifically, and and I'm sure we've met before, but at that point I'm just in a daze and just not really recognizing who you are. And then I think I walked 20 feet to where they were handing out water, and there was Lisa again, like handing me a bottle of water, and I was like, man, she is really friendly. She obviously knows who we are. Or knows who I am for some reason, and I couldn't for the life of me at the time figure it out. So it was funny to walk in.
I tried to catch everybody that I knew.
Yeah.
Everybody, but I missed Amanda.
I didn't even see you at all. No.
But it was awesome that you were there.
Well, you probably know so many people in the running community. That must have been fun.
It is fun. It is fun. Yeah, I mean, over the years, you just meet people in different groups, and it is fun. And co-workers and, other areas of life. You just meet people who also run. And so it's fun to see them come across the finish line. Everybody was in a daze Saturday. Yeah. Everybody was.
Yeah.
Boy,
so sometimes I'd get distracted because somebody was getting medical attention.
We stayed at the Sheraton. I had to walk the mile back after I was done running. I had to walk back to the hotel because I didn't have a wallet or a phone or anything.
Oh, that wouldn't have been good.
And, it was the funniest thing because I walked down, I think it was B.B. King Boulevard, all the way down to the south end, and I passed homeless people after homeless people. Nobody ever asked me for anything. They just looked at me like, hey, man, I got a seat right over here. Like I'm one of them now. That's
right.
what I look. Yeah. I look so bad. They're not going to ask me for anything.
Well, I want to introduce Richard Barker, Lisa's husband, who's in the audience, our studio audience. Thirsty's handling that right now. He couldn't get around.
Too close.
Don't have the mobility.
Too close.
Okay. Well, we're glad to have him. And we also have my aunt, Laura Horrell, who's in town from Portland, Oregon. And I bet y'all haven't put this together yet. She's the one that drew the art right behind your
That's
head,
right.
Vaughn.
Yep. Nice.
That's awesome.
So that is
cool.
My dad's sister. And this means so much to me. Y'all know I'm super sentimental in the first place. But Laura adjusted her flight schedule so that she could be here for the podcast.
Because it's that important.
And Laura is the person that I called when I was in rehab, when it was time to pay the piper and they had to take care of the insurance thing. And she was my one phone call, the one and only phone call that I made. Said, I got a problem. I'm in a world of shit. I need some help. And she handled it. And she even came in town after I got out of rehab. And I remember asking you, what are you in town for? And you said, I'm in town for whatever you need me for, whether that be the kids or taking care of you, and just meant a lot to me. And it's great because we have Lisa Barker here. And Lisa, you're one of the first groups that I met outside of CrossFit in the gym in the running community. And had it not been for, it was you and Kathy Kramer and Judge, Alan Couch, and Tim Wilkinson, Brian Williams, a whole big group of us.
Man, that's a group of nice people.
It was. And here I am. Judge likes to laugh because he says that I was wearing like cotton socks and a cotton T-shirt, and he said he was afraid I was going to chafe to death. I didn't know
Little did he know the prophecy that he was about to.
And so because of that, that is essentially what led me to Lift Heavy Run Long.
Really?
That is the start of when I felt like, why is there such a divide between CrossFitters and runners? And I always felt that way. And I don't know if that's something that I think I probably blow that up in my head a little bit. But I just felt like this bridge needs to be gapped. And
well, we all fell in love with you that day. I remember that day so well because here's Wilson. And I think maybe Brian, had you met Brian?
I had.
Williams before?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And
he led me to y'all.
Okay. And so we all met somewhere around here. I don't know where we were. I was just get in the car and get out and start
we met
running.
in Hernando, or I met a group in
okay.
Hernando at the courthouse to pick up Alan.
Okay, yeah. And so we got out of the car, we met you, and here was Wilson. He's going, yeah, I'm signed up for Selmore. Yeah. And we're going, oh, really? What's your longest run? What are we doing today? We just fell in love with him. We did. And then, Amanda. Every other word was Amanda.
Still is.
Amanda. Yes.
It still is.
And the judge accused me, of interrogating you. I said, that is not true. You're very open.
Very open.
I was not interrogating.
Not everybody feels comfortable asking the follow-up questions, so it may have sounded like an interrogation as a.
Maybe.
I remember you catching some flack for that, but I just start talking too much to too many people. I probably. I don't think that I've ever been interrogated. Well, I have been interrogated.
Turns out.
Well, sorry if I interrogated you.
Absolutely not. And it turned out to be such a great friendship. And, it is such a community. And every time whenever I see you, it's usually you and Kathy.
Yep, Lisa
I see
Kathy.
you and Kathy Kramer together.
Yeah.
And there's always that breath of fresh air. And it's always nice to be wherever it is that I am in a race, I can be there and see y'all, and you can say, how you feeling? And I can say, like, complete and total shit. And Kathy says the same thing every time she sees me. Hey, Wilson, how you doing? Tell us a story. And, out there you can just start talking.
Yeah.
And we talk about all kinds of things, and I just love it.
Well, and we love the long run. And so when you see somebody on a long run, it's always, a distraction, and just quality time with friends.
What got you into the long run?
I was such a late bloomer anyway, not athletic ever in my whole entire life. And, our kids grew up and went off to college and got married. And all of a sudden, I just went into a real funk. And so I started trying to run around the neighborhood a little bit, hoping nobody would recognize me.
When is this, 2008?
Yeah, probably about then. And then, I started trying to run on my own. And then I found Mark Higginbotham and started running with that group. And finally worked up to where I could run with them on Saturdays. And I think maybe the first or second time we went out, we went on the trails for a couple hours. I was like, that was so much fun. Just so much fun. And, then through that group, I've just made really good friends. And I like the trails. It's very seldom you'll see me running on the road. I just like I like trail races and trail training.
How long had you been running on the road before you found the trails?
Not very much. I've done several road marathons, but I'm like, I don't like them. They just beat you up in a whole different way. And they're just not as much, to me, they're just not as much fun. I just like being out in nature and.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
I agree with that.
Well, you can't really talk to people, can you, in a road marathon? I noticed that on Saturday where someone would run beside me and they'd be like, "Whoo, boy, how are you doing?" Like they're just like,
well,
what is this guy doing?
I think it just depends on where you're at pace-wise, because Crystal and I pretty much were talking. I won't say nonstop, but we were having pretty regular conversations while we were out there. Wilson ran with you ran into somebody out there on the course, and we're talking pretty much through most of the race, right?
Yeah, Mandy, and she could talk, no problem.
Yeah, but you don't mix with strangers as much. I don't think.
You don't.
You talk with your running buddy, but in
the woods, I've talked to it's just like
you're just grateful to see another living being.
Yeah.
Yes. Like when you did your
Right.
50 or 100 mile, you're just so glad. If you do run into somebody, you're just so glad for the company.
Right. Yeah, that's it. That's it. It's like one guy said something like, boy, you're almost there. And it was like mile 13. And I was like, we're almost there, guy. And he just doesn't even look at me. He just kind of keeps going. I don't know. It's different than being in the woods.
I remember signing up for the Tour de Spirit Haiti Medical Mission 24-hour race. And Brian talked me into that. I didn't even have any idea what to imagine in my head when he was describing it to me. And I was still so new in the game to all of this distance. And I looked you up. I looked the results up from the year before on the computer, and you had done like 70-something miles. And I was like, that Lisa Barker did 70. These people run 50, 60, 70 miles. I couldn't believe it. And then I met you out there, and I've seen you out there every year since. And you are probably the nicest and toughest person simultaneously that I've ever met.
Oh, gosh. That's too much of a compliment.
You said that you started from mailbox to mailbox.
I did.
Legit mailbox to mailbox.
I did.
And you just finished the Tunnel Hill 100-mile race.
If you had told me 10 years ago that I would be signing up and actually completing a 100-mile race, I would have laughed. I mean, I would thought, well, that'd be really great, but you're not talking about me.
When did you think that 100 miles was something that you could do?
When
you finished 100 miles?
No, I knew when I signed up that I was going to do it. But, I think that the tour that first year that I did, I think it was 71 miles, Brian Williams, the first night I went out and ran with Mark Higginbotham's group, Brian Williams was just coming back. He had been a part of the group and then had some family things going on and came back, I think. But anyway, so that was maybe 2 or 3 years later, and we were at the tour. And, I mean, I had been training and doing long runs and training for a marathon. But that year, I just kept going and kept feeling okay and kept going and feeling okay. I mean, I kind of surprised myself. And at one point the next morning, because Brian was talking about doing 100 miles, and so he was trying to go really long at the tour that year. And the next morning, the sun had come up, and I was still,
I can picture you.
I'm not fast. I mean, that's no secret. Look at my times. My race times are slow. And Brian wanted to make sure that he stayed at least 10 miles ahead of me. And he said, will you sit down? And that just,
fuels you.
Mm-hmm, yeah. So I just kept, slogging around that 1 mile course. And that was really fun. I mean, we've laughed about that over the years. That was really fun because that really pushed me and it surprised me. And then, I don't know, a few years ago, probably about 3 years ago, I just started thinking about it because I started looking at people's times when they do 100 miles. You don't really have to be that fast. You just have to have that ability to keep going. I mean, of course, it's great if you're fast, but you just have to have that ability or that desire. And I just love the long run. I really do.
What do you think was harder, going from 0 miles to 3 miles, 3 miles to, say, 15 miles, or getting to where you could run 15 miles to 50 or 100? I ask that because I think that getting to the point of being able to run a 5K was so much harder than going from a 5K to, say, 50 miles.
Oh, I think you're right. I think you're right. The first time I ran a 5K, maybe the first several times, because I started with 5Ks and I would just be, barely be able to walk the next day. I would hurt so bad. So yeah, I think so. I think that's really hard. Just getting started, getting off the couch. Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because so many people, it's just not a mindset that you can compare. Like you can't intellectualize, oh, if 5Ks feel like that, there's no way that I could do a 50-mile race or a marathon if it hurts 5 times as bad when it's not like that.
But y'all, I mean, you run how many miles and then, go out and do 50 miles.
Wilson doesn't run at all.
I know, it's amazing. I mean, that's amazing to me.
I don't know if amazing would be the word for it. Probably not very
I think it's pretty amazing.
practical, but I love it. I like doing it like that. And I think I wouldn't, if I wouldn't have had the exposure to the people that I've had, I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that.
If you thought somebody was going to be making fun of you out
Yeah.
there or anything like
Right.
that, then, but instead everybody's like, oh, Wilson's back. Nice, good to see you.
Yeah.
And like, they don't care if you DNF'd the previous race. They don't care if you were the last finisher. They don't care if you're the first place finisher. You're just another guy to them every single time you walk out there. So
That is the best way of putting it. And that's what makes it so special. And that's what I think so many people need to see is that, it is nice just to go out there and, like you're talking about not being fast, that it's just not really important to be that.
Yeah, I mean, and the trail races too are more, I guess saying that makes me think how, you just kind of show up and maybe pledge allegiance or say a prayer and then they'll just say, okay, go. It's just so informal. And I think that's why I like it too. I mean,
What about the finish, the big celebration of the finish when you pull into a 50 or a 100-mile race and maybe somebody's there? Really, there's just a finish line, the clock, and you're like, anybody want to give me a ride home?
yeah.
Pull up and Amanda's like out there in a lawn chair, like, all right, let's go get
We've been waiting for 4 hours.
about time. Let's hit it.
Yeah, that was weird this last time. I crossed the finish line, had to find my own medal and walk off.
There wasn't
At
anybody
Tunnel
there for
Hill?
you to give you a medal, was
at
there?
Tunnel Hill?
Yeah, at Tunnel Hill.
Yeah,
I
that-
walked around looking for somebody, and I was like, "Where's the medals?" And they're like, "They're sitting over on the table." So I just had to walk back over. And
Oh,
my
wow.
medal.
You're kidding.
Yeah, I think we all kind of came in that weird time frame where
they just-
it was like, I don't know if they were taking a break or what they were doing, but
I was
it
trying to get warm. I don't blame
maybe.
them.
Yeah, it was cold.
It was cold.
It was cold.
So what happens from here? I mean, you've run a 100-miler.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying I will never do another one, but do you mean another 100-mile or just
Yeah.
in general? I don't know.
Are
When
you
did
doing Swamp Stomper? Are you doing Stanky Creek? Are you doing
I'm
you're
signed-
doing
I'm
you're
signed
doing
up.
her Parsons?
I'm not signed up for anything except for Sillamore 50K.
I didn't ask what you're signed up for. I was telling you that you're going to do her Parsons.
This is the way Wilson works. He tells us what our race
Tell me what I'm doing, Wilson.
Her Parsons. I
Her
need you to
Parsons.
commit to her Parsons.
Are you doing the half or the full?
We'll do the full.
Okay, I hope Mark Higginbotham isn't listening.
He'll be there.
I think
Mark's
that's
will
where
be
I
there.
first met you and Kathy. was
Is
her
that where we first
Parsons.
met?
I think so.
I can't remember.
Is Mark pretty strict about you sticking with his plans?
No, not I mean, he appreciates it when we do.
When you're at her level, I mean, what can he really do to hold her back?
That's right.
I mean, it's just
Well, let's
Yeah.
go back for a second. So
She's the one keeping him relevant.
seriously.
you
keeping
ran
his
100
name.
miles. All right.
Right.
So that's just no big deal, or like, how do you feel now that you've accomplished such
You know,
a thing?
it really took, I mean, it really has not sunk in. It really hasn't, but I mean, very excited. I was very excited before or looking forward to it. And then, it just hasn't really sunk in.
Do you feel like you're back to normal from the 100-mile race?
I really don't. I really feel like I maybe was a little just burnout. I didn't want to be cold anymore. So after that, it was so cold that weekend. And so I've not wanted to get out in the cold a whole lot. I've only run a couple of times. Haven't been back to the gym, which usually my routine is the gym Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday, and then running Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. And I've just kind of been lazy.
That's okay. You ran
Yeah,
100 miles.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
Well-
totally okay.
I took
you-
almost a year off.
You did?
Pretty much.
A year from
I've been
what?
screwing around.
But you're
for-
still doing the gym stuff every day.
well, he's back now, but he had a lack, and I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but I think what you've said is like, it was like he reached his pinnacle and like he had a lack of motivation to, like there was nothing else for him beyond the 100 miles.
I didn't know. I don't even know what to do.
Yeah.
I don't
Like,
know.
what do I do
don't-
now? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how you
it's
feel,
like
like-
it's like the greyhound that catches the rabbit. Like they just give up on racing after that. That's where Vaughn was.
That's
after he
a
finished.
little too much. A little too much. more of like I didn't ever think I could. I didn't even expect to finish the race.
Really?
Yeah, like I didn't think I could be able to do it, and then you do it, and you're like, I'm just curious how you feel. Like you do it, and then you're like, well, holy shit, I just ran 100 miles.
Well, I did feel like I was going to finish it because, my personality is if I'm going to start it, I'm gonna, I've just got to finish it.
Right.
I mean,
Are
I
you
wanted
super
to.
stubborn? I wasn't even going to look at Richard. I was going to save him the trouble.
Yeah.
I wish we had him mic'd up right now because were you at the finish line?
Yes,
For
he
her
was.
100?
Yes, he
Yeah,
was.
I would like to get his perspective on how she was at the finish line.
How did you feel at the finish? Were you pretty roughed up and hobbling at that
Oh,
point?
it's so embarrassing. I mean, in my finished picture, I'm all leaned over and look awful. I mean, it's just awful how I finished. But he was my rock. He met me at every aid station and switched my bottles out. And could not have done. That's why I hate to say I'll do another one because I had a whole bunch of people that helped me through that, and I think that they might not speak to me anymore if I said I was ever doing.
It's such a commitment for your team.
It really
to get you through a race like that.
It really
you
is.
You need that support.
I was talking to one of my pacer ladies about that. I said it was hard for me in a way because there at the end, like I was leaned over so bad. The only way I could straighten up, this is like the last few miles, it was put a hand on her shoulder and that would straighten me back up and I could walk better. But I felt like I was, pulling on her, and I said, it's just.
So did you have how long did you have pacers with you, and how many did you have?
They picked me up at mile 50. So
Okay.
at mile 50, my friend Paula picked me up and ran out 13 miles. And my friend Terry picked me up there and ran me back 13 miles. And then Monica picked me up there and ran I use the term run loosely. We did the last 24 together.
What was your overnight experience like?
It's just really cold. That was my biggest complaint is that it was just really cold.
Did you hallucinate?
I did.
Yeah?
I did. There was an old lady walking next to me.
Oh, God. We can't talk
Wilson
about
would have
that
been
anymore.
running for sure. He would have ran the whole thing. Record time.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I said it was my eyes playing tricks on me, not a hallucination.
I'm sure it was. Did you have a headlamp on? Well, that was my thing. So like the headlamp, it was misty, like it does, I guess, overnight. And you can't really see anything. Like if you turn your headlamp off, you can't see anything.
Yeah, it was so dark out there.
So you're just looking at basically your light reflecting off the mist that's in the air, and your field of vision is only like like this. So you're making up all kinds of crazy shit that's going on around
you're
here.
just seeing other things, and I'd look away and she'd be gone. I'd look back and she'd be there.
Don't even refer to her anymore. We're past the old lady thing.
What was her name?
It was the bent neck lady.
I think that pacers, I can't imagine. Well, for one, I can't imagine running that far, but I think that pacers for me would just be people that I wasn't going to be friends with anymore.
Well, I was so particular
just because
about
of all
that.
the complaint. I think that if I had to meet up with somebody and their job was to make me continue and keep moving and go
I put
faster.
up with your shit for 25 miles.
You put up with my shit for like 6 at Sylamore, and
I was
fortunate that you still speak to me.
I was miserable too, though. Like if I was picking you up at mile 75,
You think you'd be better?
I'd listen to your bitching for 25 miles and get you through it.
Maybe that's different. That's kind of what I was really comparing it to mine and yours.
Yeah, no, but I feel like that's a completely different. I mean, we're suffering together at that point. That's not a pacer situation. That's
true.
We're both in the race, doing it. But as a pacer, like if I could meet you at the other end of Sylamore and run back with you, hell yeah, I'd do that. I'd listen to all your bitching. I would tell you that we were going to have to run all the way down to the river and back up. I'd make it the worst case possible.
I think the goal of the pacer really is to just make sure that you don't quit. Like
it's not really to make you run faster.
When I was watching David Failing when we were running, his pacer was basically like, okay, look, you can sit down on this bench for 2 minutes,
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah,
then
keep
we're
the nutrition on
and then
point,
we're going to
keep them
go
moving forward.
Otherwise, he probably would have just sat on that bench and never got up.
Yeah.
But he's
And then it's when you go in through aid stations. It's like, okay, it's time to change a shirt. Okay, we need to pick up more
Right,
goo.
right.
We need to refill your like making sure that you're doing all the things you're supposed
Right.
to be doing every time you go through an aid station. Yeah.
Well, and we've talked about this before. It is easy to forget that you can walk a little faster. You know, you can get caught up and
Walk
kind
with
of just
purpose.
like,
especially after you've been running for 13, 14 hours.
Yeah, you're
like,
so
oh.
sleep deprived. And I mean, I was so selective in the 3 ladies that I picked. They're all very strong runners, and I knew all 3. And we had some meetings ahead of time. I had handouts, and I said, I don't think that I'm going to want to quit. So I don't think, because sometimes, I've heard people say that have paced other people, your person might want to quit. They'll just go, I'm tired. I'm going to sit down, and you got to keep them going like that. And I said, I don't think that I'll want to quit, but you just got to keep me moving. And they all did. I mean, they all, and I was scared to tell Monica that I was seeing that old lady. She said, well, you didn't say anything. Why didn't you say something? I was like, because I was afraid you'd think I was losing it and make me sit down.
yeah.
Make me stop.
Make me stop. Yeah.
Yeah, if I'm ever pacing you, don't ever tell me that you see something like that.
Then we're going to run, right?
I don't care if you're losing it or not. I just
We're getting the hell out of here, lady.
be the fastest
Good
you've ever
luck
seen
with the
me
rest of
run.
your race. I'm gone.
I'm going back the other way. Was there ever a time that you thought maybe I'm out of here? I'm not going to do this.
No.
Really?
No.
What was your
So
darkest
you are
mile?
stubborn. Because I mean that was a tough race.
I mean, I
like,
really
weather-wise,
wanted to do it. I really
cold-wise.
wanted to do it. You trained so hard for it. Well, I did. You wouldn't. You wouldn't have to. I did. I'm a planner. I mean, I built a model of the course.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
That's
It's-
awesome.
It was. I'll
I
send
wanna
you
see
a
it. I wanna
picture.
see it.
I'll text you a picture.
Okay.
I built a model of the course on the floor because I knew that Richard would be, crewing me, and we had other people helping crew. Molly was our head crew chief, and she had seen the course, the year before, but Richard hadn't. So I built that model on the floor with tape, and and I laid my food out that I would want, and
Wow.
I mean, I was just psycho
It worked.
overdrive. It did work, yeah.
That's the way I was for my first 50 miler. My youngest son crewed me. I didn't have a pacer, but we were doing loops. It was Mississippi Trails 50.
I remember that.
And I had very specific instructions for him. I'm like, first loop I come back, I need this. And I'm like, I'm going out with, 3 goos on each loop. If I come back with 2 or 3 goos, then you need to make me eat this. And there
Right.
was stuff in the car, like, you have to give me this stuff. Like, I had like a whole overanalyzed plan. And I think there was only one time that my nutrition got off on one of the loops. And he's like, all right, sit down. Like, here's 10 Oreos. You have to eat these before you can go back
Ew,
out.
gross. I'd never finish.
Oh, I love Oreos.
You don't like
that wasn't a
Oreos?
problem.
No.
And she doesn't
Well,
like
no, but I mean that was the thing I picked
Yeah, I
ahead of
know,
time.
I know.
Like, it was like I hadn't eaten. Like, I literally came back from a 10+ mile loop and hadn't taken a single goo on the
Oh,
loop.
wow.
Oh, wow.
And it took me like 2.5 hours to do that loop. And he's like, all right, sit down. Here's some Oreos. Here's some cashews. Here's some water.
Cool.
And it was everything that I told him to do. So
So
Well, like the overplan. Oh, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, do you feel like it worked out correctly? Do you have any regrets or
It
anything you would
did.
change?
No,
or
I
anything?
felt like it did work out as well as it could have, and I felt like the over planning made me feel more
Right, you
comfortable.
feel more
I mean,
confident in
I'm
it.
very laid back, but it just made me feel comfortable knowing, having a plan, and I think it made my crew people feel comfortable. I think it made them and my pacers, because we had already had all the conversations ahead of time, and so we didn't have to discuss anything.
there's
when we were-
nothing to figure out. There's just running
Right.
to do.
Right.
What was your darkest mile?
There was a couple of periods in there where I got, just kind of nauseated, and started to fade a little bit, and that was
bit. You're making it sound
Sounds
easy.
like you had a great race.
Yeah.
well, it was good, but I mean, I was not killing it. I was 29 hours and 22 minutes, so
Killing it.
well,
I think that's
Finished.
great.
100 miles is killing
You finished.
It's a long
Any
damn
way
way.
you spell it.
Yeah.
If the goal is to set out and finish 100 miles, you don't even need a clock. If you can finish 100 miles any way that you can get there is impressive.
well, thank you. I mean, it was fun. The whole experience was fun. The ladies that paced me, the had so much support. You would think I won the race because we had so many people there.
Yeah.
And they were all, everybody else, of course, was done when I got in. So I had a whole group there waiting on me, and that was nice. That was
What
really
kind
nice.
of, do you have like set calories that you're taking in per hour or mile or something like that?
Yeah, I try to take in, and we were taking it. Didn't y'all feel like you had to take in more calories? You weren't there this year. With it being so cold, normally I would do like 100 calories, but with it being so cold, when I get to the aid station, I was making sure that I ate real food, soup, or I think they had bacon and grilled cheese and cheese quesadillas.
I think I took in less calories, not on purpose. I actually, the backpack that we're talking about that Vaughn ran the marathon in, I had that on at Tunnel Hill, and it was full. I think it's a 70-ounce bladder, and I bet you I didn't drink a quarter of it
Oh, wow.
out on the course. I was drinking, I was grabbing like a Coke or a Mountain Dew or something like that at aid stations, and maybe like a Nutella sandwich or.
Where was
handful.
Nutella at? I missed that one.
I did too.
Karnak had
Aw.
Nutella and peanut butter sandwiches.
I didn't see that either.
Missed
Yeah.
that.
What did y'all do? Did you eat at the aid stations?
I did.
Did you take food too?
I did. No, I depended on the aid stations, and I did 200 calories an hour, I think is what my nutritionist told me. I can't remember now. I had it calculated, and I stuck closely to that.
Because there's one distance between aid stations that's like 6 or 7 miles. That was a dark time
Yeah.
every time for
Yeah.
me because I
Well,
felt
That's
like
the worst part of
and
it.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
either going to the
To-
actual Tunnel Hill.
Yes.
or
going to
coming
Two
back.
Tunnel Hill or
That's
coming
the
back.
worst part of the race.
Yeah.
Both times on that second half of that race, that was a dark time because it just seemed like forever.
Mm-hmm.
When I turned around to come back, I mostly drink Tailwind, and then I'll take a handful of whatever is there. And then once the wheels start to fall off, I'll just take as many S-caps as I can fit in my hand and eat until I'm going to vomit and just hope that it works. And it did. Coming back from Tunnel Hill, I thought I've got to quit. Like, I'm just too tired. Nothing is good. This is not good. And I said, I'm just gonna eat until I can't eat
Is that the first
anymore.
time that you've ever really had the thought of I
Yeah.
should quit?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's as strong of a feeling of I'm going to quit as I've ever had.
Okay.
And then after I ate as much as I could, then it just completely turned around for a little while. It went away.
It's weird how that works.
Yeah, it is. I was like talking to myself. I was like, oh my God, this is working. Oh, thank you, God. I really need this. Oh my God. And then after a while, I was like, well, that sucked.
Maybe I will quit.
But it's only too late now. What distance is your favorite?
I don't know. I like doing 50Ks because, but a marathon distance like Herb Parsons, that's a nice distance too. I don't know. I don't know that I have a favorite. Depends on the day and who I'm with.
The 50 miles is as far as I can absolutely go. And that sets me back so much, like in life.
As positive a person as you are, I hate for you to make such
He's gone further than 50 miles.
so definite of a statement that I cannot go further than 50 miles.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't do that.
You've gone, yeah, because you've gone further than 50.
You're right.
It's one of those. I get it. You can't imagine yourself. There's other ways to say that, but you saying I will never go further than 50. Just
That would bother me if it was coming from somebody else's mouth. So I hear you.
right,
You're
exactly.
But I do think that there is something as far as my mental stability after I finish those races that, we've talked about it before. I just go into my biggest fear is depression. and I've suffered from depression in the past. And after I finish these long races, then that fatigue causes me to feel like I'm depressed or that I'm going to be depressed, and that lack of endorphins or whatever you burn up out there. And I think that, running much more than 50 miles could probably really throw me out of whack is my fear. Because after I get done with these races for the next 4 or 5 days, I wake up thinking, I'm never going to feel right again. I'm never going to want to go to the mailbox and see what's in it. I'm never going to want to go pick up my kids from school.
No, I get it, because I have been that way since Tunnel Hill. I've not, and it seems like it doesn't take much, to wear me down. And I miss having my energy, but hopefully it'll come back soon.
Is there any kind of rule of thumb that they say it should take to when you finish a race?
I don't know. I've Googled it just trying to find out.
Well, normal people only do like one marathon or longer distance a year.
Normal people.
Really?
Normal
Yeah.
people.
Well, I mean, there are people that run
true?
multiple 100-mile races.
No. I'm not saying that there aren't people capable of it, and I'm not saying that all of us in this room haven't done like a 50-mile or 250Ks or whatever, and a marathon thrown in there. But like a normal person will only run like one marathon a year.
Oh wow! I didn't expect that number like that.
Oh yeah, I think that's right. I think that's what normal people do.
Well, I mean, I guess I hang around with a lot of not normal people.
Yeah, well,
That's true.
That makes me feel like we're normal.
Making better life choices. I mean,
I thought I was
think it's-
normal, Brian. I'm not normal.
I think it's just I think it's a really big deal what you did.
Oh,
It's a huge
thank
deal.
It
you.
is huge.
And I mean, I think that
Vaughn
really
wants it to be a big deal so that him doing it was a big deal.
He
too.
ran hundo.
No.
Well, so you didn't have any pacers though. How did you do? See, I think that's a bigger deal.
That
Well,
old
you,
lady
so you
bigger
ran,
deal.
you ran
That's
with
not what-
David for the first.
half.
I mean, they were both running 100 together, and you ran the first 50-ish miles together.
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. And then I can't remember. I let him go. That's
Yeah,
right. I was like,
right.
look, just take off, man. I'm going to enjoy because he was going too fast. And then I ended up passing him later in the race. But anyway, what I wanted to tell you is I think it's like a huge deal, and I think you're just going to feel that way for a little while. And then you're just going to be like, one day you'll be like, well, shit, I feel like working out again or whatever, I just think you got to just enjoy it. Like, enjoy what you just did and just kind of chill. I don't think it's, I just think that's just the way it is. Like you're talking about, like, I kind of want my energy back, or I want this and that. I just think it's normal. Like, nobody does what you did. You know what I mean? Like, nobody does that.
You want to talk about the way it is. The way it is that you promised me after you got done with Tunnel Hill that you'd go to Olive Branch CrossFit with me. Do you remember that?
I did.
And
I did.
December is Bring a Friend Month.
I did. I want like muscles like Amanda has.
You're gonna get them.
some.
When are we gonna do that?
We sell them there.
$3 for $1.
Let me get my checkbook.
When are we gonna do that?
I don't know.
You can come in.
We should go on a Saturday. Well, you can come in December. It's Bring a Month or Bring a Friend for free, so you can come to any class. But Saturdays are normally free.
Free all the time.
I don't want to put that off and put that off.
I'll be
and
there
then
Saturday.
It not be. You want to come Saturday?
I'm maybe going to be out of town Saturday.
Okay. But you're down for trying CrossFit.
Yes.
And
Yay.
you're down
That's
for
awesome.
her Parsons. Are you gonna do Swamp Stomper?
Swamp Stomper nearly killed me
Yeah,
last year.
that-
Did
that's
Did you
good.
run last year in the ice and all that?
So I tried to get one of my friends to run that with me. Kramer was out of town, so I was texting Monica and I said, the guys are doing Swamp Stomper. I've never done it. I think it'll be fun. And she was like, no way. No, thank you. No way. So I went with the guys, Richard, Tim, Andy O, and I think Brian
That
Williams.
Richard, you did Swamp Stomper, Richard?
He did. So I was running with Too Tall, Tim, and Andy O, and we were moving along great. And I had shorts on because I always wear shorts, and it was like icy and just horrible. And so we hadn't been, we were having a good time, and I tripped and fell at probably mile 7, and like just cut my knees all up, And so it was just completely iced over, and my shoes had no traction. So, the guys were picking it up. I said, just go on. I'm good. I'm good. So I just got slower and slower and slower. And I felt like a rag doll. I mean, it was like I would just literally roll down one hill and claw my way up the next. Finally, I'd been out there, I don't know, what seemed like for days. And I started looking at my watch going, I cannot believe that none of those guys are back looking for me. This is ridiculous.
They haven't sent the search party out yet.
I mean, and I would, get to the top of one hill and I'd look down at, how Shelby Forest is. And it was Shelby Forest on ice. And I'd look up at the next hill I was going to have to climb. I was getting so mad, thinking, why are they not coming back to get me? And finally I made it to almost the finish line. And they were like, oh, we were just about to come check on you. I was like, really? Really?
That place has traumatized me. I'm scared to death of Shelby Forest. I really am.
Me too. If it's on ice, I will not do it this year.
I remember going there before Sillamore. Sillamore was going to be my first 50K. And people were comparing it to Shelby Forest. And I went out to Shelby Forest and spent, like you said, I probably spent 5 hours getting through the 3-mile red loop. I was like, this
awful.
is no way.
Yeah.
No way.
I mean, it's good training. It's fun. And it's pretty out there. Yes.
I don't think it's good training at all. I think
Oh,
it's just
I like it. I
uncomfortable.
don't care for the red loop, but I do enjoy the Shelby Forest.
I do too.
That loop that
It's
they
one of
do.
my favorite places.
So
to
we
run.
doing
Yeah,
that
me too.
too, Wilson?
What?
We're going to do that too.
Swamp Stomper?
Yeah.
I'm signed up
I'll
for the
do it.
25.
It's awful. Let's do it.
I'll do the 25. I won't do the 50.
Well, so Amanda and I are doing Dopey the week before, so 25K will be a good recovery run.
Yeah. I'm
So that's
signed up.
Disney. Now, what race is Dopey? Is that the one where you do several?
5K
Five.
Thursday, 10K
10K
Friday,
Friday.
half marathon Saturday, full marathon Sunday.
Oh, y'all are
and
crazy.
then 6 days later, Swamp
Swamp
Stompers on
Stomper,
Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Are y'all going to do all that? Y'all going to do Swamp Stomper?
Yeah,
man.
I'm already signed up.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Did you tell me that? I think you did.
You don't listen.
It's the-
Did you sign up?
I haven't yet because I thought that I might
Is
volunteer.
this another race that you're going to
Oh,
show
you're
up to?
He's gonna volunteer.
What race was it?
But if it is icy, I'm
was
not
it a
doing it.
24-hour race?
Because I signed
that
up
you
the
showed
year
to
last
and
year
you
when it
weren't even
iced and I
registered
didn't
after
go.
you
'cause
I do it all
I'm
the
not
time.
doing
The thought of running the
I
red
think
loop
that
on
I
ice.
register.
Oh, no, it was Chris Hope.
It was Chris Hope and it was Herb Parsons last year. It was Stanky Creek 2 years ago. It's because I checked my email to make sure that there was confirmation. And I always forget to look at the year.
Oh, because you don't delete your email.
Right.
I don't either.
That's fantastic.
So I've got, like 26,000 unopened emails, which drives Amanda crazy. The little
Oh,
red
that number
thing.
on his phone.
Somebody came by my desk at work the other day and was looking at something, and she goes, "You have 500 unread emails." I was like, "Well, I just don't delete anything." Like,
And you search for
that
them.
is no big deal to me.
Oh,
Mark them as red, though. Like, don't just leave them.
Get that red
If you're
bubble
not gonna
gone.
you're not gonna read them, so just mark them as red. And
so unsubscribe from all the things they're sending to you.
Yeah, I could do that, but
You don't
again,
care.
it doesn't.
Oh, that's like his brother and sister-in-law are both their phones. I can't look at them. Sarah's got like 10,000 voicemails.
Wow.
I think
I didn't know it was
Lisa was talking
possible.
about doing trail marathons like Herb Parsons. I think I'm gonna do Stanky Marathon instead of the 50K because you don't have to do that stupid blue loop.
That's a good idea. That's right. That's right after Sillamore.
No.
No.
Stanky's
No, it's in
in
September.
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 Remember, we just did it before.
But there's another Stanky.
Not
No.
anymore.
Not anymore.
There used to be though.
Yeah, there used to be
Tell
one.
me I'm right.
There used to be one
You're
in
right.
like March, April, and then there was one in September. They don't do the March, April one anymore. Now they do. It used to be the half and the full marathon at Stanky was one race, and the 25K and 50K was another race. Now they do all 4 races
It's all rolled
simultaneously
up into
in September.
one big ultra marathon burrito.
Like 3 years ago, I did Sillamore, and it almost killed me. And then like the next weekend, there was Stanky, and you were
right.
somewhere. So
Not at Stanky.
I didn't have, you were not a Stanky.
I know that.
And I didn't have anything to do. And I called Brian Williams and I was like, what are you doing? He's like, come run this thing, this Stanky. And I was like, can you get me in? So he called the race director and like made it happen. And then I got outside and I was like, shit, it's snow. There's snow on the ground. Like, I forgot that it snowed. So I had to go out there and run that thing in the snow, and it was awful. So that's a great story. You want me to tell it again?
So you might volunteer? You might run an aid station?
I offered to volunteer at Swamp Stomper, but they didn't take me up on it. So that's 2 that I volunteered for.
I think, have you put some effort into this, or
No,
are you just talking about it?
I don't ever put effort into volunteering. I don't want anybody to take me up on it.
Okay.
I just want to have the
You want the credit
fulfillment
of saying
that comes
that you tried to volunteer.
with volunteering and being a willing soul.
'Cause
Willingness is the key, not the actual work.
I feel like you could probably call Brian Williams or somebody, and he could make it happen for
Yeah.
you.
No,
Like
it's all
you
booked
could.
up. They have too many volunteers. It's a problem. I'd be in the way at this point. I should probably run it instead
That's an option too.
or sign up for it.
Run the 50K?
So what are you going to do after your 100? I know you just did the marathon, but I mean,
well,
what
the
do you? I mean,
Well,
I'm just curious now.
I'm gonna go run Sillamore, the 50K in February, and
He's
then
training to crush that, not just run it.
Yeah.
He's
yes,
training to crush
I would
it.
like to do well, and then right now the plan is I think I'll go back to Tunnel Hill and run the 100 again next November, and
He's going to pace Dawn through it.
if she signs up, I'm gonna go, and then I don't know. I think I'll go. I would really like to go do another 100 somewhere else. Like
We need
so-
to find a good 100K too. I think there's a couple 100Ks in Arkansas that we could probably do. That would be another next good step for you, Wilson. Would go from 50 miles to 62 miles.
Yeah, I think Greg Bernstein ran a one in Arkansas this past year.
a traveler.
I don't know.
I would do
That's
that.
a good time to cut this stuff.
Before we get him to commit to a 100-mile race.
It's funny how he'll be like, Swanson, you're running the 100-miler at Tunnel Hill next year.
Let's keep it on Thursday. Lift Heavy Run Long number 126 is in the books.
Lisa, thank you for coming.
You're welcome. So fun.